Hello, I'm Evan Nolan, the president and co-founder of the United States Athletics Hall of Fame, here to the returning nominee for the class of 2024. Born February 22, 1950 in East Meadow, New York, Julius Winfield Erving II, better known to all of us as Dr. J, is not only the greatest player ever from the ABA, but one of the most electrifying players in basketball history. Now, his father, Julius Sr., would leave the family when Julius was just 3, and his mother would raise Julius and his younger brother Marvin in Hempstead, New York. He'd start playing organized basketball with Salvation Army team. At the age of 10, was averaging 11 points a game. Now, his mom would remarry when he was 13, and the family moved to Roosevelt, New York, with Julius attending Roosevelt High School, where he'd play for the basketball team. Now, at Roosevelt High, Julius was both all-county and all-Long Island and would play for those teams in statewide tournaments. He'd also pick up his famous moniker at Roosevelt High, as jokingly call his friend Leon Saunders Professor, and Leon would in return call him Doctor. When he'd play at Rucker Park, people would call him by a variety of names, but he said to everyone, "If you're going to call me anything, call me Doctor," and the name stuck. Interestingly, Erving said that he was never really that big of a dreamer. He just wanted to be the best at wherever he was. And the next place he could be the best was at the University of Massachusetts. Now, he'd spent 3 years at UMass, where he'd have one of the greatest college careers of any player in history. For those 3 seasons, he'd averaged 26.3 points a game with 20.2 rebounds a game. He's only one of 7 players to average 20 points and 20 rebounds a game for their entire college careers. He'd also have a couple major things happen in his life that would change his perspective from what I could do here to a much larger one overall. The first, unfortunately, was the death of his younger brother Marvin from lupus. Julius was just 19, and Marvin was only 16. Marvin's death shook Julius to the core. He spent 3 days crying in the cemetery before he turned his helplessness into fearlessness. The second was not quite as serious, but equally eye-opening. When he attended an Olympic development camp where he played with the best players from all over the countries. The big schools in the Big Ten and Big East and stuff they didn't think he could ever compete with. So, and Dr. J didn't just compete. He dominated the competition. He led the team in both scoring and in rebounding. So after his junior year, he used the ABA's hardship exception to leave school and signed with the Virginia Squires in 1971 for 4 years and a total of $500,000. He'd averaged 27.3 points as a rookie, making the all-rookie team and finishing second to Artis Gilmore in the Rookie of the Year competition. In 72, became eligible for the NBA draft, where he was drafted by the Bucks, which would have put him on a team with Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But prior to the draft, he'd signed a contract with the Hawks for $1 million with a $250,000 signing bonus. This was all going on while he was embroiled with a contract dispute with the Squires. He'd report to training camp with the Hawks for 2 days, but Commissioner J. Walter Kennedy ruled that the Bucks owned his draft rights. But then a judge stepped in and said that he had to leave the Bucks and go back to the Squires instead. With the Squires that season, he averaged 31.9 points a game, and the next year his contract was sold to the New York Nets. Now, he led the Nets to their first ABA championship in 1974 over the Utah Stars, and the ABA's last ever championship in 1976 over the Denver Nuggets, the Nets second. Erving would win the league MVP for the ABA in all 3 seasons with the Nets, 74, 75, and 76. In fact, that 1976 season was one of the greatest for any player in any league ever. Just listen to this. He finished in the top 10 in the following categories: points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, blocks per game, steals per game, free throw percentage, free throws attempted and made, 3-point percentage, and 3-pointers made. This is the only time in the history of either the ABA or NBA that one player was so accomplished in every one of those categories. The next season, the Nets would join the NBA, but due to the Knicks saying that territorial rights, were forced to sell Erving to the Sixers in the process. With the Sixers, he began to dominate again, and with Larry Bird heading to Boston, he'd reignite one of the NBA's great rivalries between the Sixers and the Celtics. Erving would frequently bump up against Bird in the Celtics and Magic in the Lakers in the playoffs, and had trouble just getting over the hump. Now, this included the 1981 season, where Erving would win the league MVP and go up 3-1 to the Celtics in Eastern Conference Finals, only to lose the next 3 games by a combined 5 points for the Celtics to advance and win the championship that year. This all changed when he partnered with Moses Malone in 1983, giving him his one and only NBA title. And although he was an 11-time NBA and 5-time ABA All-Star, a 9-time NBA or ABA first-teamer, and a 3-time NBA or ABA second-team player, he averaged 29.1 points for his career across the two leagues, all while being basically the coolest man on the planet. An incredible career for an incredible man. And he finished 32nd on our list last year, just missing out on the Hall. Let's make sure that Dr. J is in our second class, but that's going to be up to you. You can vote for Dr. J or any of our other nominees for United States Athletics Hall of Fame at www.theusahof.com. That's the United States Athletics Hall of Fame.com, all shortened. Voting will continue between now and we close our polls on December 1st, so vote as often as you like, as long as it's only once a day. I'll be back soon with another nominee, but until then, take care.